Donald Trump is waking up in terror as he sees the markets crashing, as he sees the economy crashing, as he sees the economy heading into a recession caused by him. Here's what the headlines are when you wake up in Trump's America in 2025. Breaking from Donald Trump. I have instructed Secretary of Commerce to add additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada. A headline like this from Drudge. Economy cracks. Stocks lose $4 trillion. Don't panic. Trump slump. Tesla doom spiral. Well, the markets are panicked right now as Donald Trump continues to escalate his threats against Canada. Here's what Donald Trump posted this morning. This was like one of his first posts in the morning. He goes, based on Ontario, Canada, placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the United States, I have instructed my Secretary of Commerce to add an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and aluminum coming into the United States from Canada, one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world. This will go into effect tomorrow morning, March 12th. Also, Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250% to 390% on various U.S. dairy products, which has long been considered outrageous. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada. If other egregious long-time tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada, I will substantially increase on April 2nd the tariffs on cars coming into the U.S., which will essentially permanently shut down the automobile manufacturing business in Canada. Those cars can easily be made in the USA. Also, Canada pays very little for national security, relying on the United States for military protection. We are subsidizing Canada to the tune of more than $200 billion a year. Why? This cannot continue. The only thing that makes sense is for Canada to become our cherished 51st state. This would make all tariffs and everything else totally disappear. Canadian taxes will be very substantially reduced. They will be more secure militarily and otherwise than ever before. There would no longer be a northern border problem, and the greatest and most powerful nation in the world will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever, and Canada will be a big part of that. The artificial line of separation drawn many years ago will finally disappear, and we will have the safest and most beautiful nation anywhere in the world. And your brilliant anthem, "O Canada," will continue to play, but now representing a great, powerful state within the greatest nation that the world has ever seen. No wonder the markets are continuing to tank. This individual is a psychopath. May I just mention also that Donald Trump, whose whole thing is borders, 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 when it comes to Canada, saying that it is an artificial border, the language that he's using is quite literally Putin's language that Putin uses to conquer neighboring nations that Donald Trump is using here with Canada. Donald Trump then says he's declaring a national emergency on energy, and he's escalating the trade war with Canada, and he's blaming Canada for the trade war, frankly, the war that he's declaring on Canada. What's the response from Canada? Well, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, says, I will not hesitate to cut off power supplies to the United States if need be. Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, also said, Ontario and Canada is not going to back down until Trump's tariffs are gone for good. And then we learned that paperwork raising the tariffs on Canada that Trump had just threatened via a social media post has not yet been signed. A CNBC cited a senior administrative official as saying, by the way, while all of this is taking place, the House of Representatives run by the MAGA Republicans are no longer expected to be voting on the continuing resolution in the next 24 to 48 hours. That may, of course, change because these MAGA Republicans are living in constant chaos. But what that means is we are now also headed for a massive government shutdown. If they cannot pass this continuing resolution, we know that they can't pass their own budget right now. Should be noted as well, Canada accounts for about half of the U.S. aluminum imports, and the U.S. market only really clears with Canadian supply. As Brad Setzer explains, this guarantees a lot of pain for the U.S. aluminum consumers. Also, Donald Trump posting this after midnight last night. This is what he posted. To Republicans, conservatives, and all great Americans, Elon Musk is, quote, putting it on the line in order to help our nation, and he's doing a fantastic job. But the radical left lunatics, as they often do, are trying to illegally and collusively boycott Tesla. As Judd Legum explains, wait a minute, so it's now illegal not to buy a Tesla? Trump goes on to say, Tesla is one of the world's great automakers and Elon's baby. In order to attack and do harm to Elon and everything he stands for, they tried to do it to me at the 2024 presidential ballot box, but how did that work out? In any event, I'm going to buy a brand new Tesla tomorrow morning as a show of confidence and support for Elon Musk, a truly great American. Why should he be punished for putting his tremendous skills to work in order to help make America great again? Wow, you're going to buy a Tesla for Elon Musk, a billionaire's buying a Tesla for a billionaire as our markets are tanking, as Americans' 401ks are getting crushed, as you're threatening actual war against our ally Canada and then blaming Canada for it because you are an abusive, malignant narcissist and also an idiot. Anyway, let's see what the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, has to say. He went on MSNBC this morning. Let's play this clip.
And joining us now is Doug Ford, the Premier of Canada's most populous territory, Ontario. And Premier Ford, as we mentioned, President Trump is now saying he is enacting a 50% tariff on steel and aluminum from Canada, which will go into effect tomorrow in response to your actions. What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I start every interview with saying we love Americans. I love Americans, spent 20 years of my life there. And I know Canadians love Americans and vice versa. In saying that, we will not back down. We will be relentless. I apologize to the American people that President Trump decided to have an unprovoked attack on our country, on families, on jobs, and it's unacceptable. Let's work together. Let's get to the table if he has issues, and let's sort this out. You see the market tumbling, consumer confidence is down, and if he continues on with this, assembly plants in Michigan will shut down, and around the country, whoever makes autos, and as well as businesses. They're going to hurt. And these pensions, when the market goes down, it's going to affect people's pensions. So I'm not too sure why he continues to attack his closest friends and allies, but we need the American people to speak up. We need those CEOs to actually get a backbone and stand in front of them and tell them this is going to be a disaster. It's mass chaos right now. That's what we.
And then he talked about how if we go into a recession, let's be very clear. This is a Trump manufactured recession. Let's play it.
On the electricity. Stay tuned.
So what does that look like? What are the potential responses?
Well, we'll see. I'll talk to the team and we'll make an appropriate response to President Trump. Again, I stress, this is not the American people. Canadians know it. And if we go into a recession, it's self-made by one person. It's called President Trump's recession, which shouldn't be this way. We should be booming both countries right now.
Checking in here on MAGA Mike Johnson, where he's asked about the economy and he's asked about the continuing resolution that Republicans are struggling to pass to fund the government. MAGA Mike Johnson describes the economic catastrophe taking place right now as a game of billiards. It's like a pool table, you know, when you have to break at the beginning. Seriously, this is what he says. Let's play this clip.
He's got to reshake and shape things because it's in a real mess. The last 4 years was a disaster in economic policy and every other measurement of public policy. So what President Trump is doing, I think of it sort of like when you're playing billiards and you're playing pool, right? You go on the table and the balls are racked, right? And you hit it as hard as you can. This is many people's strategy in the game. You hit it as hard as you can to break up the balls on the table and send them spread. Then you play the strategy of sinking them in the holes, right? That's what we're doing right now. It is a shakeup. And he said there's going to be a shakeup right now, but this is what's required, in my mind, to start the process of repairing and restoring the American economy. I believe that the strategy is going to work. I believe that, sometimes when you shake up, that it's a violent thing on the table, right? In the game metaphor, but it always works out well.
Here, MAGA Republican Congress member Tom Emmer, in Kim Jong-un propaganda style, goes, "We're winning, win, 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 win." Here, play this clip.
Last week, we celebrated President Trump's countless victories for the American people during his joint address to Congress. This week, Congress must pass a continuing resolution so the American people can continue to enjoy win after win after win. This is the way forward. But unfortunately, Democrats in Congress would rather throw temper tantrums fueled by their hatred for President Trump than keep the government open and working for all Americans.
Here is MAGA Republican Congress member Steve Scalise. As Aaron Rupert says, this is the Republican representing the Pyongyang North Korean district. Here, play this clip.
Last week, all Americans who watched the State of the Union saw a very triumphant President Trump who's returned to the White House with even more energy, more vigor, and more focus to work for the American people than ever before. Laying out in just 6 short weeks how much he's already done to fulfill the promises of the campaign.
And here's MAGA Republican Congress member Alford. Here he is saying, look, Elon Musk is such a brainiac. He's a brainiac. Just let him do whatever he wants. Let the brainiac do whatever he wants to do. Here, play this clip.
Look, Elon Musk is a brainiac with an IQ that I cannot even fathom. He is not a master artful language person like politicians and news anchors. I think when he talks about elimination, I think we're talking about eliminating the waste, abuse, and fraud, and it is true.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. That's where we're at right now. We'll keep you posted with more. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.